If social distancing means Swan Princess 9 has to wait, I guess I better get to work on that rainy day project. Wait, what's this doing in here? I can't afford distractions. Oops. The direct-to-video line of Disney sequels fits the textbook definition of mixed bag, mixed mostly of movies that are mediocre or bad. Up to this point, I've been kind to myself by focusing on the better films in the bunch. For reasons that I can't really explain, I've decided to break that pattern and dive headfirst into filth. This is Pocahontas 2: Journey to a New World. If you like starting sequels with violent disruption of the status quo, then this is the opening for you.
John Smith, in the name of the king, you are under arrest for treason in Jamestown.
Treason? You must be looking for Radcliffe.
The king believed my story. Pity. I so would have preferred to see you hanged.
Oh, snap.
I did everything I could to save him.
Oh, that pompous, sniveling, deceitful... I guess technically this reaction means it's perfect.
Chief will only tell you more heathen lies. War is the only way.
Prepare your armada then, but we will await the return of John Rolfe.
Our first glimpse of Pocahontas is her having fun with her friend Nakoma. Again. Well, that killed the mood pretty quickly.
Much time has passed since the news of John Smith's death. Perhaps it's time to put this behind you.
Exposition is already a tedious affair. At least write it so it sounds like it's part of our real conversation and not just a piece of information. This bad memory cues up the first song of the movie.
Where do I go from here? So many voices ringing in my ear. Which is the voice that I was meant to hear?
This isn't too shabby as a song, and it also does an adequate job of setting up the inner struggles that she faces. But thanks to the goofy animal sidekicks doing what they do, the solemn mood is not well maintained. An English ship arrives, bringing with it John Rolfe. Historically speaking, he's the man who ended up marrying Pocahontas, so yay for accuracy, I guess.
Steady. Savage!
Pocahontas can talk to the English. Why didn't she just turn around and say, hey, you almost got run over, you're welcome? Okay, that one's on me. I expected racism to be nuanced. How foolish.
Wait!
Stand down!
It's all right now. I've taken care of it.
The settlers need to know they can trust us to do the right thing. You should not have interfered.
I beg your pardon.
All right. You have it.
I was trying to help.
I did not ask for your help.
Well, you didn't say thank you either. Whatever happened to manners and etiquette?
Well, since you are new here, I don't expect you to have them yet.
Get that man a ton of aloe, because Pocahontas just inflicted some serious burns.
Women.
You know, on second thought, let him suffer.
Oh, there you are. Thank you. It's time I met this Chief Pocahontas.
Oh... Probably a result of Radcliffe tainting the story with his lies. Or maybe he's an ignorant moron.
Both. Both is good.
I would like to present this horse as a gift of peace to the mighty Pocahontas.
Daughter?
No, I'm sorry. It's my fault. This horse, it's meant for...
Pocahontas, your king said.
Or did he speak falsely?
No, I mean, I never. It's just that this is...
I know I said let him suffer, but wow, Karma is working double time today.
Good job, Rolf.
John Rolfe wants Chief Powhatan to come back with him to England to talk to their king about forming an alliance, but he doesn't feel like playing ambassador.
I do not want the Pale Chief's land. He wants mine. Why doesn't he cross the salt water to see me?
I'm afraid that simply isn't done.
Someone must go.
You speak with the tongue of a pale one. You belong with them. Perhaps you should go.
No! This is a matter of diplomacy. You can't handle a job like this.
Rolfie boy, do yourself and everyone else a favor and please stop talking.
I will go.
Daughter.
Father, please. I can do this.
Very well. It is decided.
Before her departure, Pocahontas asked Grandmother Willow for advice.
It is time to listen to your heart.
But the spirits around me
can help, but only the spirit within can guide you.
Okay, standard stuff. And now the wisdom-filled epiphany? Okay, no, just an endlessly distracting series of noises. And then Willow just disappears. Or maybe not.
It was all completely meaningless.
Chief Powhatan sends a warrior
This is Udamatamakin.
to protect Pocahontas as well as to scout England.
Cut a notch in this staff for every pale face you see.
I like him already. The animals also sneak on board, and as you would expect, hijinks ensue.
I don't cotton the stowaways, and I'll not have you disrupting my crew.
A guest of the king and is to be treated as such. Am I clear, Captain?
Because like it or not, you are the envoy, and I am honor-bound to protect you. And honor, Pocahontas, is the backbone of our civilization.
Thank you.
A slightly surprising shift given every interaction they've had up to this point. The ship arrives and the next song begins.
In London, come and see who's here. Everyone knows someone, they come from far and near. London is nothing like I've seen before. Music and feathered hats and roofs that shine, with flags flying higher than a pine.
There is a sense of irony to seeing Miss Colors of the Wind now singing about the wonders of London. On the other hand, sequels should break new ground, and it makes sense to me to flip the coin and show Pocahontas discovering the English world.
On a day in London, history was made. Take away the mystery, then you're not afraid.
Pretty sure that wasn't the attitude on display when it came to colonization.
The king has appointed me to lead an armada against the savages. Don't tell me you didn't know.
There is no gold.
Another barbarian lie.
There it is. John Rolfe leaves Pocahontas with his maid, Mrs. Jenkins.
She's about to put on some tea.
I'll put on some tea. I'll put on lots and lots of tea.
While he meets with the king.
May I suggest she attend the hunt ball? Let her go back to Virginia, having witnessed the royal might and majesty of English society.
Sire, she doesn't know our customs. To subject her to this kind of scrutiny would be...
Rolfe! That is the most rational thing that you've said this entire movie.
If she's not a savage, then why shouldn't she fit in?
Prove to me she is as civilized as you claim, and I will stop my armada. If not, the armada sails.
But sire...
It is decided!
Who taught you to base major political decisions off of this type of petty, trivial bullcrap? The President of the Oh, wait, hold on. Point withdrawn. This is the 1600s. America won't be founded for another 170 years or so.
Pawn to king. Check.
Okay, that's not an amazing line, but it's one of the few that the movie delivered just right.
You're now invited to the hunt ball.
I don't understand.
Oh, it's a trap! It's the elite of British society. Etiquette and manners. There's a million ways you can insult someone. Believe me, I know. And if you slip up just once, Ratcliffe can convince the king...
Then I must not slip up. I can't learn your ways alone. But you can help me. What must I do?
Headstrong is a textbook quality for a protagonist to have, so it's not surprising to see it here. That said, Pocahontas was told,
"There is so very much to learn. You understand so little."
And her response was,
"Oh yeah? Well, you'll see."
And it's a relief to see that this calling out the BS side of her character is still intact.
Warn your king of his lies!
But he wasn't lying.
Then your king's promise to meet me was the lie.
A king doesn't lie.
They cannot both be true.
And though I understand for the story why that's not the case, I kinda wish Pocahontas had been able to present as civilized without erasing her heritage. Even if John Rolfe doesn't agree, the townsfolk were fascinated by Pocahontas. The upper class might have been as well. But instead, we get a song about her putting on a dress and makeup and learning how to dance. It's boring, and I also don't care much for Mrs. Jenkins singing.
And wait till he sees you after you're dressed. I think the king will be very impressed.
But more importantly,
I've got something for you.
Flit, stop it. It doesn't belong here anymore.
that felt wrong. Or at the very least, I think it could have been handled better.
You look beautiful.
The ball kicks off despite a brief hiccup. Thank goodness the Queen isn't written as a sensitive buffoon.
Welcome to England, Pocahontas.
Thank you, Your Grace. I think you must be a great king to have so many subjects, Your Majesty, and the loyalty of so many good men.
Did you hear that? She thinks I'm a great king.
Pocahontas and Utamatomakan are the only characters getting me through this.
In one night, you will have done more for the cause of peace than 100 diplomats.
John Rolfe's inclusion may carry the benefit of historical accuracy, but any hint of romantic attraction between these two characters has only been presented on a basic surface level. For a pairing that's all but guaranteed, it feels like very little effort was bothered in giving them decent chemistry. Ratcliffe is obviously up to no good.
I want to make sure nothing goes right.
Using the entertainment to rile Pocahontas.
Things are not what they appear. As tonight will make quite clear. But what is real will be revealed. I can feel the moments near.
What little credit I'm willing to give this plump prick is that he put a decent amount of presentational effort into this scheme.
After our show, the whole world will know who's pretending to be what they're not.
Heck, I'll even say, the song's not too bad.
Things are not what they appear.
Stop this! This is torture!
Sit down at once, and we will overlook the savage behavior.
Your behavior is savage!
Oh man, he was my second favorite character. A hooded figure hears Pocahontas' name at a pub.
I bet you old John Rolfe wishes he never laid eyes on the likes of Pocahontas.
And approaches John Rolfe.
Who are you? What do you want?
I have a prisoner.
He's escaping! Catch him! Now find her, Flint.
Ordinarily, I'd be tempted to ask why this movie went so quickly from mysterious encounter to them becoming allies, but as you're about to see...
John! I knew you'd come. John Smith.
It was definitely the right call. Full disclosure, I did go into this movie with a few spoilers, so I have to wonder, did this twist actually shock anybody seeing it for the first time? If any of you remember what that was like for you, sound off in the comments below.
What happened to you?
Ratcliffe convinced the king I was the traitor.
You're telling me a citizen's arrest worth of witnesses was not enough corroboration to put Ratcliffe away? Did the king send guards after those characters like he did John Smith? Is Thomas in jail? Movie, you better leave that precious boy alone. Pocahontas gets sick of her boyfriends arguing her choices for her.
Once the Armada sails, they won't stand a chance.
How will her getting killed save them?
Well, are you suggesting she turn her back on them?
Are you suggesting she die for them?
She can't just sit back and watch.
She has no choice.
So she steps away to figure it out herself.
The past is gone. I must move on from here.
They're not going to listen to you. Look at you.
How can they respect my culture if they haven't seen it?
Tell her she's crazy.
You're crazy.
Sure, their chemistry hasn't been great up to this point, but this moment is still kind of cute. Pocahontas marches into the courtroom of King James and tries to reason with him.
Surely His Majesty would not refuse an audience with a visiting princess.
There is nothing to be gained, but much to be lost for all of us.
While obviously not as stunning and flashy as this.
Is the death of all in love carried in the drumming of? No!
We do get this.
There is no gold, is there?
No. Radcliffe assured me
that I was dead. Was it true? Radcliffe has lied to you about everything.
There are many voices around you, but you must listen to your own voice.
The voice of a man-baby who's constantly worried about what everyone else thinks of him? I wouldn't gamble on that, princess. Just tell him to listen to the queen. The two Johns and Pocahontas ambush the Armada as it's about to set sail.
It's John Smith! I thought he was dead!
And the ghost of John Smith. Run for your life!
That is ridiculous. And yet I love it.
Who started the party without me?
You call this a party?
You're not having any fun?
Mind if I cut in? Trying to make a point?
This, not as much. Maybe it's the cheesy lines, maybe it's the cheap production quality. But this doesn't feel epic the way a climax should. These sequels were already viewed as cheap cash grabs on concept alone, so this is not a good look.
Surely you know that a good soldier always follows orders. If it were I would have killed you years ago. Your Majesty, the fugitives are getting away. They've sabotaged the Armada. You stop them!
The day is won, and Pocahontas is set to return home.
Lord Advisor to the royal court. What a wonderful honor.
You've done everything you've set out to do, and more. Your people will be very proud.
The story can tell me it's obvious, it's right there, as many times as it wants to. I'm not feeling it, though what follows only opens the door even wider.
The king's given me a ship. This is my dream. Ours. Every day a new adventure. New lands to discover.
That's not what you want, is it?
We walked the same path once. I have found where I belong.
I hope you will also find happiness.
Remember when this relationship felt significant?
I'd rather die tomorrow than live 100 years without knowing you.
Udamatamakan stays in London with Mrs. Jenkins, leaving the mission given to him by his chief at the beginning of the movie completely abandoned. But a certain someone decides not to, and I'm gonna give you guys 3 guesses. It's John Rolfe.
What about your duty to the king?
I have a duty to honor what is in my heart, Pocahontas.
Excuse me, sir. Did you share a love song with Pocahontas?
There is no sea that's wide enough to keep us from our destiny.
Oh, and it's even by the characters' actual singing voices. You know, suddenly the clip I'm about to play feels very childish. But it's still how I feel, so... So that was Pocahontas 2. As my reactions have betrayed, there are things in this movie that I like. Unfortunately, they are highly outweighed by the things I don't. I heard this movie was bad, but its story didn't feel doomed from the start. There were a few neat ideas to explore, both character-centric and big picture, but things move forward too fast to give those ideas time to flourish. The The situations are laid before us, and the writing and execution don't go much further than, this happens. We don't get that special punch of emotion that makes a story feel like it's worth telling. As a direct result, a lot of the dramatic weight this movie could have had is killed before it can leave a lasting impression. With very few exceptions, the characters are portrayed in this movie with about as much dimension as a Disneyland cast member portrayal of these characters. No disrespect intended towards the theme park workers. For the environment they're in, their performances get flying colors from me. Though the script is probably more to blame than the actor, who's Mel Gibson's brother, by the way, John Smith is just swashbuckling and dropping one-liners for more than half his total screen time. A caricature which pales in comparison to the emotional importance this character was given in the first movie. On the flip side, props to David Ogden Stiers for turning in a great performance as Radcliffe in spite of the shoddy script. Though to be fair, Radcliffe is probably more interesting to write for. My point is, movies need more than base-level writing and performances to support the stories that they're trying to tell. I did give this movie more compliments than I expected to, but that doesn't make the experience feel worthwhile. It's not good in spite of its flaws, it's weak in spite of its successes. Have you ever wondered what it would look like if a minimal but still technically passable amount of effort went into making a movie? Well, today,
I've seen that, and I never want to see it again.
But before I drop this movie into that proverbial hole in the ground, I've got to finish the job. Plot hole time. Why didn't King James just order the Armada to stand down? The ships were starting to leave, so quick action had to be taken. No time for the bureaucratic process of drafting an official order. But Pocahontas, Rolfe, and Smith were able to catch up to the Armada. I feel like King James could have gotten there in time too. I'm going to end things a little bit differently today. It's easy to take our pot shots at the direct-to-video Disney sequels, calling them cheap and unimaginative, but it's worth recognizing that they did not spring up from nothing. There was a decent crowd of people who watched the predecessors that liked the characters in these movies enough to want to see more of them. But Disney attempted to meet that demand with minimal risk, commitment, innovation, and expense. Appropriately, this resulted in minimal amounts of satisfaction. With that in mind, I'd like to recommend two pieces of fan-made content far more likely to satisfy you than Pocahontas 2 is. The first is Pale Sun, a fanfiction about John Smith on his deathbed wishing he could see Pocahontas again. It's tragic, but it carries a very strong emotional weight. The second is called How Do You Solve a Problem Like Pocahontas, a story outline that reimagines the first film in a way that very much lives up to its title. I really enjoyed these pieces of content, and if any of you out there have an itch for more of Disney's Pocahontas, I hope you will too. This is Detective Steve, signing off.
How will I know? Where do I go from here?
Pawn to king. Check.